Good evening. This is going to be a very simple video. It's basically which battery do you buy for your car when your battery decide it doesn't want to work no more, and which brand should you go with. Well, here's my 2020 Hyundai Elantra. It's the Value Edition. It's a dual overhead cam 16 valve. It's got just under 50,000 miles on it. Well, a couple days ago, matter of fact, Monday or Tuesday, I believe it was Monday as a matter of fact, I was going out to lunch at work, went to attempt to start my car, and it wouldn't crank over. It took 6 tries to get my car to finally turn over. So I'm like, oops. Yep, it's about right. 3 years, my battery's probably shot. So when I left work, at the end of the day, same thing. It took me a couple of tries, same results. So I got it home. I went ahead and I got my my battery tester out, hooked that up, and it was showing that there was only 10.5 volts of cranking power. So then I hook up a multimeter. I did the same thing, showed the same thing, 10.5 volts. And then I went and tested the alternator to see if the alternator was functioning. Yes, the alternator was functioning. So I'm like, okay, it's time for a new battery. So now the question is, where do you buy your battery from? What type of battery do you buy? And how much do you want to spend? Well, a lot of these new cars, such as mine and my wife's car over there, that's her 2020 Kia Forte GT line trim. Well, underneath the hood, they look exactly the same. They both take the same exact battery. All these new cars have what they call an AGM battery. What AGM means, I don't know. I'm assuming that the battery cells are different than standard batteries. And this one here is an AGM. The classification is what they call an H5. So that's what I went out and purchased at Walmart and I put in the car. So some people might be thinking, well, why did you put a Walmart battery in the car? They're pretty daggone cheap. Well, not really. I've used Walmart batteries in my other cars throughout the years, and I've never once had a problem. As a matter of fact, this is the EverStart Platinum. It comes with a 4-year replacement warranty. So what it basically means is, in 3 years, if something goes wrong with this battery, I pull it out, bring it in, and I get a free battery. There you go. Now this battery here is listed at $179.84, I believe. And there's a $12 core charge, and then my wife does have a discount. That gets applied after your tax. So with all out the door for me, it was only $188.80. Now when I return the bad battery back to the store, I'll get my $12 cord back. So basically I paid $176 plus for the battery, which is actually very, very, very good. Now I checked some of the other sites. AutoZone wanted $249.50 for my battery plus a $22 core charge, initial core charge. Advance Auto wanted, I believe it was $276 and change plus a $22 core charge. Then if you add in your tax, you're paying well over $300, maybe $305, $310. And I simply went to Walmart. Even without her discount, I still would have been better off buying the battery there. That's why I bought the battery there. Now, you have to be careful when you are looking for a battery, because I'll tell you what, they have another one called the EverStart Max Class H5. Well, you would think it's the same thing because the class is H5. Well, it's not, okay? Because this is an AGM Class H5. And if you still have a hard time determining what kind of battery you need, what you simply do is measure the battery, measure the overall length, and then measure the depth of the battery. You can also measure the height of the battery, because if you get too small of a battery, if you got too small of a battery, it's not going to provide enough cranking amps for your car. if you got too long of a battery, well, in my case, if I had gotten a battery that was bigger, and I did that one other time with a car, I bought a battery that was a little wider. Although it fit in that particular car, this heat shield thing here, well, guess what? Couldn't use it no more. Had to throw it out. So it's very, very, very important that you get the right battery for your car. Okay? If you happen to get the right battery just by the type, like I said, this is an AGM. It's a battery. It's a 680 cold cranking amps. The other one was only 640. It's got 60 amp hours, and it is a class H5. So when I picked up this battery, I knew it was the right battery for the car. I brought it home, I put it in, and it worked perfectly fine. So folks, like I said, when you're going out buying a battery for your car, you know, make sure that you get the proper size, you get the proper, you know, basically the proper size. You know, you can look on, all you got to do is pop your hood, look at the battery you got, read the type of battery that it is, and go ahead and go to the store and match it up. Okay, that's basically all you got to do. Be very careful about bringing it to a shop, because they're going to charge you an arm, a leg, and maybe your, maybe your firstborn. Okay, and there's another thing you should know about batteries in cars. Check your warranty booklet on, inside your glove box. All the warranty information, like on this particular car and my wife's car, the batteries are covered for 3 years or 36,000 miles. If the batteries go within that time frame, I get a new battery. Unfortunately, I was 3 years, 1 month, but 48,000, I believe it was 48,550 miles is actually when the battery went on this car. So naturally, I couldn't get a replacement. It's also very important to, every now and again, go ahead, pop the hood, check the terminal connections, make sure that they're not loose, make sure they're not full of corrosion. If they are loose, tighten it up. Make sure you also, get off any corrosion, and then you can buy this kind of like dye stuff that you spray on your terminals. It prevents it from getting all corrosion and stuff. But what you can also do is, if you really want to, you can just go out and buy a battery charger. Okay, Walmart had one for $60. I could have just went ahead and put it on a slow charge overnight, and the battery might have been fine. Because I've seen people do that. Well, actually, I heard of people doing that. Buy a battery charger, stick it on there, charge up the battery, because they don't feel like going out and buying a brand new battery at the time. Heck, get another 6 months, maybe a year out of the battery. I mean, you got that option too. It's entirely up to you. But, I just decided to do this quick little video about the battery and stuff. And, I hope you enjoyed. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Whatever floats your boat. Later.